What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the remaining few minutes we have, and I'm going to talk to you about why we do what we do. I hope that you are in life past a certain point, because you know what? Going out there and serving families, it's what we do, man. It's what we do. You ain't got to love it. It's what we do. It's what when I chose to do, I chose to go out there and do it. You know why? Because I got X amount of leads, and I went and sit down X amount of families. You know why? Because you know what I needed for my family at that time? I needed a cash flow about $5,000 a week. That's all I needed. I needed about $5,000 a week. So I reverse engineered it. If I needed about $5,000 a week, I said, what do I have to do to make that $5,000 a week? And I reverse engineered it to my daily activity. And I went out there on personal sales, and I cash flowed $5,000 a week. Why? Because it's very predictable in our business that if you'll go out there and do X activity, you're going to make X amount of money. Now let me ask y'all a question. Do you think I'm passionate about living benefits? Mm-hmm. You think I'm passionate about final expense and making sure that Miss Jane's set up when she passes away that her kids aren't going to have to pay for her funeral? Do you think I'm passionate about that? Mm-hmm. But you know also what I'm passionate about? I'm passionate about waking up in the morning and having 2-3 hours of walking real slow. Anybody in here played more football than you probably wish you had? You know what I'm saying? It's like when you were growing up, you played more sports than you. One of the things I love now, and I'm not going to paint a picture of Lear Jets and luau's in Hawaii, but I'm going to just tell y'all, I just turned 50 years old, and our life is so different financially. I still go out there 2-3 days every week and I help families. I love it. But the reason I do it is because it's great cash flow. But we also make quite a bit of money because we've gone out and developed the network, which is what I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But the thing that I'm also passionate about is being able to wake up every day and do what I want to do. I don't wake up every day with some thumb on my head of somebody telling me you got to be here at this time, you eat lunch at this time, and don't you take 1 minute more than 45 minutes, and it doesn't matter if you get your work done, you can't leave until 5. That existence, I'm just telling you, that existence drives me nuts. And the people that I look to hire are people that hate that. Oh, so now I'm seeing, John, so they don't have to love what you do, but if they hate what they do and what you do produces a different result, well then they might ought to do what you do. Yeah, and learn to fall in love with it. So why do we do what we do? At 25 years of age, my background was professional golf. And I was invited into a small, closed, private meeting room downtown Raleigh, North Carolina, to meet one of the top guys in the country in the franchising arena. So I go down there, I'm 25, I'm from Hicksville, USA. I'm serious. Population of our town on any given day was several. I knew nothing growing up. Nobody ever taught me about success. Here's what I thought success was growing up. Work hard and make a lot of money. The more money you make, the more successful you are. Anybody ever fall for that? And so at 25 years of age, because I'm going to tell you, and I will let, because I don't want anybody to think at 25 I was different than what I was the least likely person at 25. That y'all, if y'all could have known me at 25, I'm the least likely person at 25 to be standing up in a room in Baltimore, Maryland, talking to you guys about success. I'm the least likely. I'm the guy that was probably voted most likely to run a ride at the fair than talking to y'all about daggum success. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like guessing people's weight and stuff, right? So I go sit down in that room, And I'm sitting there, and you know what, the room wasn't very much bigger than this, but I was sitting on the second seat, second row, and this guy's up there talking about making money, and he says there's two types of income, what are they? And he looked right at me and he says, type, right? And I said, yes, sir. He said, two types of income, what are they? I had no idea what to say. But the only two types of income that I was used to at 25 was a little and a lot. So that's what I said. And everybody in the room started laughing. I felt like they weren't laughing with me, they were laughing at me, right? And, but I'm glad that he embarrassed me like that. He called me out, because all the ADD that I had, you know, growing up, massive ADD. Of course, now they got a name for it. Now you put kids on medicine, they sit there like, you know, like a zombie, but they get it. You know what I'm saying? And but back when I had it, they just called you stupid, right? I mean, that was what learning disabilities were back then, right? And so I was sitting there, for whatever reason, when he did that, I started zoning in on him like I'd never heard anybody talk like that. So at 25 years of age, I was making my money three different ways. I was giving golf lessons, I was running a golf pro shop as a Section A PGA golfer, and I was also playing in golf tournaments. So I was working as hard as I could to make as much money as I could sitting in that seat. And what I'm about to share with y'all is exactly what he shared with me, and it changed my life forever. And here it is. He said, two types of income, what are they? Well, obviously a little and a lot was not the right answer. And he put up on that board, one is called temporary and the other one is called permanent. And he said, sight unseen, definition undisclosed. If we pretend like I have no idea what I'm talking about, and you were given the choice between types of income, not amounts of income, but types of income, which type of income would you choose? And everybody in the room chose permanent. I've never had anybody that understood the question choose temporary over permanent. Definition, just so you'll know, is temporary income is whatever it is you do to make money. Whatever it is. I don't care how much status you have. I don't care how people think you're successful. Whatever it is you do to make money, if you stop doing the activity, your income stops. Just that quick. And passive, permanent income is whatever it is you do to make money, stop doing it, income keeps coming in. So which type of income would you have if given a choice? People choose permanent. But here's my passion in what I do in building a business. This is my crusade. This is my reason for being here tonight. It's not to hire people to go sell an insurance policy. My reason tonight is because there's one person in this room that your life's getting ready to be set on fire. Because mine was at 25. 95% of the people. Why do I do what I do and what's my passion? 95% of the people in the great old United States of America, they would choose permanent income. So they would choose a whole different life than what they have. But what do they have? Temporary. They wouldn't choose it, but they have it. Why do they have temporary income and not permanent if they would have so willingly chose permanent? Why? Because where you grew up, whether it was in the Bronx or whether it was in Baltimore, Washington, California, you're no different than me. You're no different than this kid that grew up between two tobacco fields in eastern North Carolina. You're no different than me. You were taught how to go to school, get a good education, get out and get a good what? Business of your own on the tip of anybody's tongue? Come on now. Tell me. No. We were all taught how to be broke. We were all taught how to go out there and get a good job. A good job. So why do I do what I do? I teach people between types of income. So forevermore, when you walk out of that door, I may never see you again, and that's fine. But forevermore, you never have the right to bitch and complain about the result that you produce. Because life's about choices. And at 25 years of age, somebody taught me about types of income, and he said it's the type of income that you have that produces the success that people want. The tragedy is that people are trying to produce one result in an arena that simply doesn't produce that result. Let me tell you what I mean. So this guy taught me this in 1993. Several years later, a guy named Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Anybody read that book? If you want to be successful, I'm just going to tell you, there's a lot of books I tell you to read, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad is one of them. Get the book. Please get the book. It's a great book. He talks about growing up in Hawaii. His real dad was an educator. So his real dad was, quote, successful in the employee realm. But he talks about the result that his real dad produced being an educator. His best friend's dad was a business owner. And he talks about the difference in lifestyle just because of what each did on a daily basis. So you have a choice what to do. What you do on a daily basis is seeds that you sow, and whatever seeds you sow produces the harvest. People that make massive amounts of passive income, they're no smarter than you. So I'll talk about that. 95% of people have temporary. Robert Kiyosaki, the sequel to that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is Cash Flow Quadrant. And Robert Kiyosaki in the book Cash Flow Quadrant came up with this now infamous ESBI quadrant. And he says, yes, there are only 2 ways of making money, but what we have to understand, there's 4 ways of making those 2 types of money honest and legally in the United States of America. 2 of the ways fall under temporary, and 2 of the ways fall under permanent. So what's an employee? An employee is somebody that works for somebody else. They start work on Monday, they work till Friday, and about every 2 weeks or so they get a paycheck. What happens when that employee gets a paycheck? They start right back at zero, and they have to go do the same activity that they wish they wouldn't have had to do the last 2 weeks just to get another paycheck. Every time they get a paycheck, they start at zero. When are they ever going to make it financially all the way from 20 to 65? When are they going to make it financially starting at zero? Every time they get paid, they go back to zero. So if you're educated to be wealthy, if you've got a wealth mindset and you work a job, you're not going to do that very long, Kentucky. You know why? Because every time you get paid, see, payday with broke people, that's the day that they're excited. They walk around, they're excited. Why? Because they're getting a paycheck. But if you're wealthy mindset, and you walk around and you get a paycheck, you start kicking the trash can. They're like, what's wrong with you? Tell you what's wrong with me. I got paid today. And you're mad? Yeah, I'm mad. Why? Because now I got to go do the same daggum thing and for the next 2 weeks get another daggum paycheck. When's it ever going to stop? Oh, yeah, they talk about, well, if you make this amount of money, you ought to live at that level. And you ought to invest it over here in investment. And then you build up these big old 401ks. Well, first of all, how's that working for you? Come on now. How much below your income level are you living? And investing what? A 401k? Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. So if you're investing in a 401k, so you're the type of person that if you needed a loan, like a personal loan, maybe I would loan you some money. I don't know, what do you need, $10,000? With $10,000 help out, I'll loan you $10,000. But wait a minute now, I'm not going to tell you the interest that I'm going to charge until I need my money back. Anybody want to take that loan? Wait a minute, but you're investing in a 401k. You know what the taxes are going to be when you need to take that money out? What do you think the taxes are going to be when forced taxation happens? We live in a country that has forced taxation. You're not aware of that, are you? What happens when you have qualified money, which means money that taxes have not been paid on? What happens when you turn 70.5? The government starts making you pull money out, because when you pull money out, you got to pay that tax penalty. See, and people develop these retirements, and they think, oh, I'm building this big. You don't know how big a retirement you're building, because you don't know the penalty they're going to charge you when you pull it out. So employees, bottom of the totem pole, work, analyze this now, work for somebody else. Work for somebody else. A lot of times people jump out of the frying pan into the fire because they say, the reason I ain't making it financially, reason I ain't making it. Two things. Number one, I'm working for somebody else, and number two, I ain't making enough what? See, with broke people, it's not about types of income, it's always about amount of income. When you start, if you don't hear a thing I say tonight, when you get to the point in time in your life where you start focusing more on the type of income you have versus amount, you'll be so far ahead of most people you won't even believe it. The reason I ain't making it financially is I'm working for somebody else, I ain't making enough money. So they jump out of the frying pan into the fire, into their own self-employed business. So these are people that have a job, self-employed people. How many of you always think self-employed people own their own business? My granddad was a dentist. He's my hero in life. My granddad, I'm telling you, I used to think my granddad owned that dentist office until I met that guy that night when I was 25, and all of a sudden it dawned on me, my granddad didn't own that dentist office. That dentist office owned him. So people jump out of the frying pan into the fire. They go into the self-employed business. Doctors, lawyers, dentists, insurance agents, real estate agents, chiropractors, restaurant owners. Come on, we keep naming them. They're self-employed. 84% failure rate in the first 10 years. 84% of the people don't make it. Why? Undercapitalized, lack of proper business plan, several reasons, right? But if you do succeed, what do you succeed at doing? Well, instead of getting paid Monday through Friday every 2 weeks, this person starts out on January 1st, works to December 31st, and yeah, they might make a little bit more money than employees make, but there's some employees that make a lot of money. January 1st to December 31st, they make money. Where do they start every January 1st? It's important for y'all to know that. It's important for y'all to know that. So what did they actually change in their life? Nothing. Why? Because temporary income produces this result. Y'all watching? Temporary income produces this result. Broke. Now wait a minute, John, you just said there were a lot of employees that made a lot of money. Yep, and there's a lot of self-employed people that make a lot of money. But that type of income produces broke. Here's why. There's more than one result that has to be made for success. Success is not making an amount of money. An amount of money is something they call wealth. That's not success. Success is lifestyle. And to have lifestyle, you've got to make more than just money. You've got to have money and time. See that, Joe? You got to have money and time. Money and time. These people that have temporary income, they're broke because if you have temporary income, your income is self-driven. And if you have self-driven and you make a lot of money, what do you give up for it? Every waking hour that you have. Show me one employee, and I'm not talking about Joe Lunchbucket that makes $62 a year with his insurance paid for, that works 9 to 5. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the employee that makes $150, $175, $250,000 a year. What does that person give up for that? Every waking hour that they have. And you participating in your life, that's not their concern. How successful do you think you are waking up every day with that knot in your stomach because you don't know when the day is that cardboard box is going to be on your desk? Happens all the time. Temporary income is self-driven. Self-driven produces broke. because you can't combine money and time and have self-driven income. You're going to give up something for something, right? Daniel McCrae. Daniel's in the room? Daniel McCrae. Daggone, we were just in my hotel room talking to Daniel's one of the most successful people we have at selling insurance at Equus Financial. He's one of the most successful people, bar none, in all of Equus, in the S quadrant arena. And I was having some fun with Daniel a while ago because Daniel, his wife, her aunt passed away, and they had to fly out of the country for like a week. Now the cool thing is that Daniel had the money to be able to do that. That's the cool thing about making a lot of money is that you make a lot of money. That's the cool thing. But the thing I was getting on Daniel about is that Daniel gets back from being gone a week, and what does he tell his wife? Hey, honey, I'm glad I was there with you during the time that you really didn't need, but next week, I'm gone. I'm grinding. Why? Because you got to make up time. Does that make sense? A question that I have for y'all, at some point in time in your life, you ain't getting any younger, at some point in time in your life, would you like to wake up and money not be urgent? Would you like to wake up and everything in life not be so urgent because you've got control of your money and you've got time to enjoy it? What I teach people how to do is to start off at Equus Financial in the S quadrant. They may work full-time jobs or they may have a full-time business of their own. But I teach them how to start off in the S quadrant just by making $500 per sale, $500 per helping family. And then the magic happens. Because what I teach you to do, okay, part of my coaching and mentorship, Mike Halls, Vince Halls, Kurt Falk back there, there's people in the room. Our coaching, if you want to, now there's people that do this, and guys, they're happy doing it. They're happy going out there and helping 5, 6, 7, 8 people a month and making an extra $2,000, $3,000 a month. They love doing that. And if that's what they want to do, they can do that forever. But for you guys that want freedom, then what we're going to help you do is to go from this quadrant, the self-employed quadrant, from owning a job quadrant, to actually being a business owner. Wait a minute, John, that's confusing because I thought business owners were self-employed people. What we established a while ago is self-employed people, if they're successful, they're owned by their business. Business owners, the cool thing about that is they really don't own a business. What do they own? They own a business system. Examples would be guys like Ray Kroc with McDonald's, DeLuca with Subway, Monahan with Domino's. Let's think about them for a second. Did they actually own a business or a business system?